in from, tell us where you're coming from, and then answer the question, are you more of a highway person or a back roads person? And so far, the back roadies are the ones in full attendance here. I love this. All right. Um, this is going to be a fun conversation. Just give you a little bit of a warning. We are going to be pulling up that spreadsheet, that Google sheet that we used last month. So if you're familiar with that, you can go ahead and already get that queued. I'll have Jennifer go ahead and throw that link into the chat just in case. So feel free to get that up and loaded. You'll see a new tab, which is what we're going to get onto in just a few moments here. I should say more than a few moments. um, but I'm delighted to see people coming in, and this is great. And I'm also delighted to meet Jamie because she said highway, and I'm a highways person. I like to believe I'm a back roads person, but I'm usually in a rush, which means I need to be on the highway. So, all right. Keep logging in. Keep telling us, are you a back roads or a highway person? Tell us where you're coming from, and let's jump into the learning for today. Super excited for this conversation. It's we've got lots of ground to cover and plenty of time to play. We also, before we get started, want to make sure that your calendar is locked in for June 4th. I have to get that right. Almost at June 6th, June 4th. Why? We are going to have a conversation on recruiting for your board. We know elections are coming up in the fall, and we want to talk about how to use the time before the election opens to actually be able to build your pipeline or to build your slate or to get people involved. And what does it mean to help people understand what the job is they're raising their hand for? So please, 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 please make sure you have June 4th on. Now, that's technically sort of wrapping up the academy, but there's still more to come. You're going to get lots of opportunities over the balance of this year to have some good conversations. Jennifer has got a couple of really cool things in the hopper, and as soon as she's able to confirm dates, we'll circle back to you on those. But like to make sure that you're aware that you do have one solid date on your calendar. All right. Got a question for you. Let's get started with a poll to find out how people are feeling around this one. I want to know, do you use member testimonials? Now, what do I mean by that? I mean getting quotes or getting stories from your members and then using them in your communications. So, do you actively use them? Do you use them occasionally for specific purposes? Do you have some, but you're not really sure how to use them? Do you not currently collect? And maybe because of the position that you're in, you're just not really sure. You just don't really know, and that is really a-okay. So go ahead and jump into the pool. A seashell road. Okay. Melinda, you and me, we're going to have to talk about that. That sounds like it's near a seashore, and I think I could love that. Keep coming in. Beautiful. I'm loving this. Lots of quick responses to this. Let me give you just a few more coming in. And the popcorn has slowed down. 3, 2, 1. Oh, as soon as I say that, some of you go like, I made a decision. I now know. Let me answer. Coming in a couple more. Oh, we're really growing now with one of these categories. Okay, I'm going to end the poll. If you didn't get a chance, throw it in chat, but let me show you. So I'm loving the fact, quite frankly, that there's many of you do not currently collect or have some, but you're not sure how to use it because this is going to be a dive into how to collect and how to use. But I'm also very excited to see that a number of you either actively use them or use them occasionally. So while you're listening, if you've got an example of a testimonial, maybe you have a link to a website or you've got something you can show, link it in chat and share with us the testimonial that you used or how you used it. Let's get lots of good stuff in that chat, okay? I'm going to put this one down and take us back. Now, in case you want to know where this conversation came from, and it makes sense, the answers that we just got on the testimonial, because you told us that over half of you said, we don't know if our communications is landing. Just under half of you said, we're not really sure members open the emails. I'm going to guess that's probably actually more than half of you, but that's okay. 27 at the time that we did the survey said they don't have any testimonials. And almost all of you, you might remember this if you were in person at the academy, said, we know our chapters are valuable. We just don't know how to tell people about it. So this issue around the value proposition is tied directly to the issue around the communications. And that's what we want to explore in detail here. Let me remind you that we talked about the value proposition during the academy, right? The value proposition equals who you serve, the problem you solve, think pain point, and the why it matters, think outcome. Okay? So, what's often the problem is what we get wrong, I should say, about the value proposition and about marketing is that we tend to focus on events. That is, the activities we're having, the CEs that we provide, the speakers. In other words, we talk features. But members don't care about features, they care about the value. And part of what happens is because we're not doing this through the eyes of the member, we talk about the wrong things. If you go to the eyes of the member, they're going to tell you that they're looking to feel welcome, to find people who get their job, to have access to trusted peers, and to gain that career confidence and sense of belonging. I do belong in a profession like this, right? So at the center of defining your value proposition and at the center of your communication strategy is this member that you have. When members don't open emails or messages, when they don't respond, oftentimes we think, oh, it's the frequency. Oh, it's the platform. Maybe it's the text. But actually, it's probably relevance and resonance. It's the lack of, that is, relevance and resonance. Testimonials solve both. They help us define the compelling value proposition and they give us a natural tool to share it. Let's talk a little bit more about that. I was working with Jennifer, had a great back and forth connection with Kathy Patan, who is NIGP's, one of her, on their marketing team. She shared 3 awesome testimonials. Take a moment to just take a look at those real quickly. Pretty cool things, right? 3 different people who are talking about a specific element that meant something to them. So what's interesting is I took these and I put them into Copilot because I thought, well, let me just see. I think I can go through and see the value proposition that comes out of these things. But look what Copilot said when they looked across all 3 to give me just one good, strong value proposition. That our NIGP membership is a career multiplier. It delivers confidence, capability, and connection faster and safer than members can achieve on their own. Getting at some key points that when we talk to people in society in general, professionals, about what's important to them, what's driving them, what's keeping them connected in their job, they talk about issues related to being able to have connections, to have belonging, and very much to feel a sense of psychological safety. Pretty cool. This is what the testimonials are lifting up. Now, we did ask Kathy, like, how did you get these stories? She said that all she does is have them start talking about their love for procurement. She'll say, Describe a day in the life, in your life, or what keeps you up at night, or what's your biggest success story? What's your biggest challenge and how did you overcome it? What would you tell your younger self about the job that you're in today? Or what would you tell someone new to the profession? Or if you have one tip you could offer, what would that be? She keeps it very conversational. Here's the cool thing. Kathy says when she puts these stories together after having talked with them, it drives interest, drives people to the website, drives participation, and drives membership. Bonus, all of these became blog posts. Let me dive a little bit deeper because when you just get a chance to talk to somebody, let them tell the story, you can get some really cool messaging points. Let's take a look right here at our first person, at Kaylee. All right. She said, if you read her testimonial, that she got confidence, she got the ability to lead, she picked up, increased her professional effectiveness just through that collaboration and peer learning. And she had personal fulfillment when she was able to help develop others and seeing the mentors that she was involved with succeed nationally. I mean, she says very clearly, mentorship gave me the confidence to step into leadership roles. What's really neat about it is if you dive a little bit deeper, you see that she was able to reduce some costs, reduce her effort, and reduce her risk. So these are all the things that she got simply out of participating in the NIGP mentorship program. I love this when you think about how you can reduce trial and error in leadership development. When you can think of being able to save costs on the expense of external leadership training. When you think about accelerating readiness outside of a tuition-based program. When you think of providing a safer environment to ask questions openly, which reduces the risk of leadership missteps. So lots of good reasons for her to find the value, to experience the value of the membership program. The bottom line, the mentorship program, which she attributes to the NIGP membership that she pays, delivers career acceleration, leadership confidence in an efficient and emotionally reinforced way. Let's take a look at Paige. She talks about gaining a sense of belonging. She talks about having a trusted, responsive network. Just-in-time problem solving. I mean, she talks right here about being in the airport and getting what she needed right away. And she talks about the fact that relationships persist long after events. So when you think about how does that translate to value, you're looking at costs that are reduced, cost of isolated decision making, that time and money spent finding the right expert when someone can actually in a conversation can get you connected to that person. This notion of less effort, right? I can go to one trusted peer and get a good referral. And this notion that professional risk, there's inherent professional risk when you're trying and testing new people, new services, but you get fast, credible advice that helps you get through that. Bottom line, the value delivered is a living, dependable network that turns membership into an always-on professional safety net. Strong benefit there. Let's take a look at Colleen's story. So what she talked about getting was exposure to seasoned professionals that are handling challenges that she could connect with, learn from. She talked about practical application to procurement principles. I mean, you can always get the theory, right? But being able to have that application allows you to see how the principle comes to life. And she talked about professional development equal to or better than formal courses. She says it, every bit as valuable as any formal course I've taken in ways that truly matter. And the costs were reduced. I mean, that mentorship became a great trade-off tuition or course cost to being able to have learning that is absolutely applied and contextual. This notion of a faster transfer from learning to performance. So I hope I've convinced you a little bit that if you get the testimonials, if you collect these stories, it's going to help you articulate the value proposition and give you messaging that you can put right out there. Bottom line, what this strategy around the storytelling is that it allows us to shift communication from what we do to why it matters. And when we do that, when we shift it from what we do to why it matters, now we've got relevance and resonance, which allows people to be spurred forward to be looking through our emails and then asking questions and then following up. It's just noticing. Jenny, thank you for posting your scholarship page where you have a direct link to some takeaways. So telling these stories is really super valuable in helping people understand the true value that I get once I pay those dollars.
Can I
So
also add something to this?
please,
As she shares those stories, I think one of the most exciting things to see is that when we share that with our membership, it is the highest ranked link that our members are going to. So what they want to hear is from each other. Well, yes, NIGP can tell you about the next class or the new program that we have coming up. What the membership wants to hear is why forum was important to them. Not all of our details. Yes, it's important, the education and classes and speakers, but what they want to hear about is the difference that it made to page. That's what people are clicking on first.
I love it. And it's there too. I mean, so even if they missed it, they can go back and find it again. And it's content that people will share. Love it. So going back to the very first slide where we captured what was giving you angst, I just want to show you in a point by point way the way testimonials can help you turn a problem into a solution. Okay. So if members don't open emails, and I mean, Jennifer just said this, right? They will open when the subject line in the intro is written in a member's voice, right? They don't really want to hear from NIGP. They don't want to hear from your chapter. They want to hear from a peer. You said that most of the communications you did were event promotion and news about events, right? So you're leaning into that. But that actually is one reason why you have number one, right? But a testimonial shifts from what the event is to why it matters, which is something members want to learn. If you feel that your messaging is mostly generic and it's because you're struggling with, well, how can I talk about this event differently? Okay. Well, it's because you're just using those terms like, oh, you're going to get X number of CEs and you're gonna get, I love this one. I see this so many times, and we're guilty of it with MRN a little bit too, is that, come to the conference and we're going to get all of the hot topics, deep dives and discussions. Well, what does that mean? Well, when you do a testimonial, it replaces those vague descriptors with lived experiences. Like that was really one of the things that the one of the previous testimonials talked about with the annual meeting, right? And then this whole idea of getting ready to leave, and she's on a plane and she's going, and she needs to have a contact, and she's been able to reach up to somebody that she just had a good conversation with. We don't know if the message is landing. Well, it's not if you're not getting any feedback. I'm going to tell you that the engagement will show up in the replies because you will get more engagement when folks understand that it's a person talking to them, not an organization. And we don't have testimonials. Good news. Turns out collecting stories is a leadership task, not a marketing hurdle. And we can make it a leadership load lift. In fact, let's talk about that. The first thing I'd love you to think about or reflect on is that when he's talking about this strategy around testimonials, we are encouraging you to reframe the ask. You're not asking for a testimonial. In fact, I would never start with an email that says, "Can you give us a testimonial?" you're not asking for praise because most people think if I'm asking for a testimonial, I'm asking for praise. But what you're asking for, quite frankly, is capturing stories. You want to be able to share those stories, and you want to have, and you want people that are having good experience to be able to brag about that experience. It's storytelling, right? And so you're not asking for praise, you're not asking for someone to refer you, you're asking them to tell a heartfelt story. Now, there are some really easy way to collect these testimonials. Don't make this a big to do, right? It doesn't have to be time intensive. It doesn't have to be awkward, right? You're looking for really micro testimonials, one sentence, two sentences, right? You're doing some casual asks, and we're going to show you some places where you get some passive collection. And what I mean by that is you have the opportunity to take touch points that are already in your calendar and turn them into collection points. So let's break this down into three kind of buckets. The first one is, how do you keep it a low effort option? So one of the things that you do is you think about post-event follow-ups. So one of the things that many of us do, hopefully, are event evaluations after the fact. Instead of doing, maybe shortening a little bit and having one question that simply says, what's one thing you tell someone about this event? Or maybe you say, what's one thing that you learned that you could share with someone else? A question where they get a chance to tell you a little bit of a story, right? You could always just maybe skip the event evaluation and just send out a quick poll that says, give me one sentence to describe the experience that you had last week, right? So you've already got something happen. Have this queued. It goes right out. If something comes back in, you got the opportunity to collect it. Second way is to think of short emails, 3 questions masked. Maybe it's an email they can reply to. Maybe it leads to a form. Just 3 quick, easy questions. Another place to do this is to look at this and your social and your community prompt. So for example, let's say you have a cool little testimonial about your annual conference or your annual reverse trade show. And you have somebody who came last year and they said to you, I met 3 people that I was able to get immediate answers from. And you do this as social media person, and you say, and the prompt is, what did you get out of the meeting? Or who did you meet at the meeting? Or, what questions did you get answered at the meeting, right? Something that they can then just quickly respond to. So these are low effort options. You're not making phone calls. You're not tapping anybody on the shoulders. You're not doing a big testimonial push. You're just letting people know that you would like to have their thoughts at any particular point in time. So nice, low lift efforts. It's kind of like, so when we go to the lake every August, there are people who love to fish. But what they mostly do is they cast the cast the hook out, put it into a holder on the boat, sit back, read a book. They're trolling. They're just looking to see what they get, right? That's what we're really talking about in the low effort options. The second place is capturing people in a lived opportunity. So at the close of the meeting, before people get out, you ask them for a comment or two. You ask them for, what was your highlight of this meeting? And you're just going ahead and you're picking up some thoughts and some ideas. One thing that I saw at a chapter meet was really cool was they had a station, and the station was, come tell us your story. That's all it was. Come tell us your story. And you had prompts, and they had a video camera ready to go, and they had a volunteer there, and they just captured these stories. So it was really kind of neat. At a national convention I went to, they had a person with a microphone and a camera, And she walked around. She walked around the meeting, and she would stop people and get stories and just capture them. So there are ways at the meeting in the middle of a lived opportunity to get that. The other thing is, we talked about this in one of our webinars last year, and we talked about this at the last year's in-person academy when we talked about what is a new member onboarding process. But over and over again, we talk about this new member check-in. Like the person joined, they've gotten the emails, they've been invited to some things, but then at some point, usually at about the 4 to 6 month, they should get a phone call. That phone call is a great opportunity for you to get a lived opportunity story, right? For you to get an experience. So truly suggest that you look for these lived opportunities, these places where someone's in the midst of enjoying and they're going to be more than willing to share their story at that moment. The last thing is create a set of easy prompts. And what I mean by this is, and you could use these two, you could use the ones that Kathy shared with us. And I don't know, probably folks here on the webinar have some regular prompts that they use. Anybody? Yes. Oh, I'm just seeing, Jenny says it's a video testimony account. Absolutely. And we'll talk about that in just a minute. Looking to see if anybody has any prompts that they find that's useful. Maybe there's a prompt that you were given when somebody asked you for a testimonial. Maybe it's a prompt you've used to ask someone. So I've given you two prompts here. What surprised you when you got involved, and what problem has NIGP helped you solve? Another one, which is a little bit deeper, but you could take this to a leader, which would be kind of neat. So maybe you just go to some of your board members, some of your past leaders. Another one would be, what would you miss if this chapter didn't exist? That's kind of a heavier one. Wouldn't necessarily come under easy prompts, but it would certainly be a way for you to get a little deeper into someone's value proposition. All right. So, where can you use these testimonials? I'm guessing that you could have guessed any number of these, right? You could use it on your website. You could use it in your emails. You could use it on event promos. You could use it in social media. You could use it in leadership presentations. What about board recruitment? I mean, if you're going to ask somebody to take on a big job, wouldn't it be great for you to have a few testimonials about the value of that service? Particularly if you have someone who's very busy and can do a testimonial about how they fit volunteering into their very busy schedule. Now, segueing to Ginny's earlier question about video testimony, one of the things that we did for a board was we went and we actually found a couple of folks who had served on the board who were extremely busy, meaning they had kids, and in one case, kids and caring for parents and a supervisor job. And we said, how in the world did you make time for this? That video testimony became a cornerstone of our conversation with the rest of the membership about volunteering. It was stronger than the written testimonial because you could see in this person's face the authenticity of their message. So video testimonials are fabulous. So I just think sometimes we miss them, but miss opportunities. But what I'm trying to get us to do is to, in any of these cases, instead of leading with something like our chapter offers networking, you lead with the member story about the value of networking. Before joining, I didn't know anyone in procurement. Now I have people I can call when I have a question, right? So wherever possible, you want to take whatever phrase it is about the feature and have the value statement, translate that into a value statement. So here's the formula, and now we're going to play. The formula is short, 1 to 2 sentences. Get a name. Can be first name and role, but you want a name. Bonus if you can get a picture. And 3, make sure you have an outcome that you can state that ties to a feeling or a solution, something that happened positively. So 1 to 2 sentences, first name and the role tied to a feeling or outcome. Now, don't worry so much about their employer name. Sometimes people feel like they can't, it's not right for them to speak and it would be misconstrued. But if you can just say, Peggy, procurement specialist, in county procurement specialist, that's going to be fine. If you can get that picture, that's going to be even better. All right. Now, I can talk about these things. I'm not you. And I just told you at the very beginning that this works when we center it on the member. You're the member, right? So what I'd like us to do now is go up to that spreadsheet. And in that spreadsheet, we're going to begin to build some testimonials. Are you game? Give me a thumbs up if you're game. Give me an emoji thumbs up or a smile in chat. Well, good. It'll be Jennifer and me then. Excellent. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and stop this share so I can share what I want to do. There we go, Renya. Thank you. Let's go. I'm going to share the spreadsheet so you all can see.
And I've put it in the chat, the link to that. So if you didn't take a picture of the QR code, we have a direct link to it. And you first will see the one that we did last time. The high value offerings will be the first tab on the left. And the second one will be called testimonials.
Okay. Yes, you want to click on the testimonials. Now, I know sometimes when people start typing into this, you're not sure where. Just go ahead and find any place in the column, start playing with it. I'll reorganize anything that we need to have reorganized. But I gave you the formula that says before joining and I gave you a sample, didn't know anyone in public procurement. After is now I can call people when I'm stuck and I feel more confident in my role. So you answer the questions before joining, now and then the feeling or the outcome. I see people have gotten in. Excellent. Feel free to type in. So our goal here is you all are members. I am pretty sure you could give us a testimonial today.
Peggy, can you share your screen?
I am going to now.
Okay,
I was
sorry.
waiting to let I had too many things open and I was trying to
Yeah, I see lots of people typing.
yeah, good. Here we go. Excellent. There we go. Now we're on. Excellent. Woo! I'm loving it. Line number 8, you got started right away. I like that. Go to the next one. I love this. Oh, procurement felt transactional and isolated. Yeah. Oh, I love this. I was new to procurement and felt like everyone else had a secret handbook I somehow missed. if you are just joining us, I just saw somebody come in. You'll see on the screen, I'm sharing. We're in this Google Doc. I put that back in to give you the link again. Please feel free to join us. We're building testimonials. Oh my gosh. These are great testimonials. Oh, okay, Andrea. Thank you. Oh, I love this. It's made me feel welcome, supported, and much more confident growing my career in procurement, while also reminding me that procurement people are pretty fun too. Okay, that is a testimonial right there that you all can use. I love this. Now I feel that I'm not in this alone. I can call upon my colleagues to offer solutions if successfully implemented. I love it. Oh, see, and here's a really cool one. I felt more equipped to have an intelligent conversation on our needs versus wants.
Peggy, can I offer a suggestion for
Sure.
this? So after watching this happen live, I love when we do things like this that you could actually mimic exactly back at your chapter. You could create a Google document that you put up after a virtual session and have people fill in testimonials. You could have it just for your board in which they just create these one or two sentences. Um, that give you excellent testimonials right here this quickly. But use it live in an event. You could create a QR code just like Peggy did. And if you're in person, have people go in and fill it out on site and watch it populate on the screen. I think it would be an exciting thing to do at an event live.
Yeah, so I use Bitly for putting most of my QR codes because there is a free opportunity. But if you use Canva, Canva also helps you do QR codes. So lots of cool opportunities for QR codes to share this kind of stuff. Yeah, so there's just this. I love this beginning of this testimonial. There's a an awareness thing. I didn't realize that not all municipalities didn't have a procurement division or department. And so now I'm going to be interested to see what the rest of that testimonial is. It's it Many of these testimonials are really connecting to the strong need to belong, which I love. Is there any testimonials that connect to a particular service? Like, when you think about a conference or a community service program or a mentoring project you were, mentoring situation you were in, or to be able to also just playing with some testimonials from that are related to some specific events or activities. And while you're doing that, you'll see that on the side, I did provide you with some sample prompts. If if you have any other prompts that you would ask, feel free to throw those in on the right side of that screen too, and we'll also collect sample prompts while we're at it. I was telling Jennifer that I just came back from a 2.5 day conference, and if I would do a testimonial for that, I would say I didn't expect from this event to how I'm trying to how I would do it, because I mean I think what I just said to you, Jennifer, was one of the coolest things I got were some new formats that I could use in my own trainings. So I didn't expect from this event to get ideas to use for my own training events, but now that I've come back and I've captured in my mind some of the different training techniques we used, I feel like I have new ideas to make my training fresher. It's interesting. If I had to do the prompt, um, what would you miss if my professional association, ASAE, didn't exist? I would I would miss the easy access to find people I don't know. Like I have built my networking circles, but there's always a question that's a new question for me, and I would miss just having a ready source for that. I would miss the staying connected with the legislative and regulatory agendas because those are not things I pay a lot of attention to, and I'd have to go do a lot of effort to stay in connection with those. Love this. Really good ones. We're getting some good traction here. Let's keep this going for a little bit more. I think the one on 19, and now I know that procurement can both be centralized and decentralized, and in many communities, a hybrid of both, is really helping you in your own professional development and career development because you're having a better understanding now of the many different ways that public procurement shows up. Looks like it slowed down a little bit. Anybody else have anything else they want to add?
And we will share this link again in the next Leaders in the Loop when we post this on the website with the slide deck and the recording. We'll also have this link to this. So if people are still adding, or you wish you had had some of that or looked at some of that, or how it was laid out, if you want to replicate this for one of your chapter events or to get testimonials from your board, I think this would be great to get testimonials as we come up on elections this fall of why people have served or why they've stayed for 5 years in this role to help recruit for the next ones coming in could be very powerful as you seek new people.
Absolutely. All right, I'm going to stop the share for now. Feel free to stay in this document. I want to go back to the slide deck because I have one more slide I really would love to share with you because, there are, Ginny had mentioned, the magic word video, and I have to tell you that I totally understand um, that we all are extremely busy as and hang on a second, I'm trying to talk and share at the same time. So I really should do one thing at a time as I try to tell myself. Okay, there we go. Um, Sometimes we get the cool quote or the story, and we're not sure what to do about it. And sometimes we'd love to have video, and we don't know how to get the video easily. So I did a little bit of research for us. Now, the third item is Canva. The Canva is the main platform that we use here at Mariner. I did find a couple of really good links about Canva that helps you really, I'm going to say, take some of your testimonials up to the next level. So, for example, there are video templates. There are traditional testimonial templates. I have a link though to a really good video I found, which is a step-by-step graphical template, just walks you through that. And then Natalia Kalinsky's YouTube channel on video has a set of videos on video on video testimonials as well as other testimonials related to using Canva. And then in all of this, I found this cool video on updates that just talks about the various things that you can now do in Canva. So Canva is a great way to get templates that you just throw in the video or throw in the text to quote, and voila, you have something you can use. And if you haven't used Canva, when you're doing any of these templates, for example, the testimonial print or text only with a picture, it'll say, are you going to use this in social media? Are you going to use this on your website? So you can actually get the right formatting to make it easy to use, say, on TikTok or Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn. But the first two tools there are actually video testimonial platforms. Now, caveat, I have not used these, but I did do some research. I checked with some folks that I know, and I also found a really good blog that had compared a lot of them. And two of the top ones that it recommended were StoryPrompt and FameWall. Now, both of these have a free plan, which is the main reason why I was looking for them. I mean, most of us don't have budgets for doing more than that, but both of them have free plans, and they do different things. But essentially, what these do is you open it up, you get an account, and then you share that link with members, and they can go in and they're prompted through a quick little process that allows them to produce a video at their computer or on their phone that then goes to you for use. It's kind of a cool thing. One of the things I would suggest is pick up one of the free plans and have your board do this first, just to see if you can get some good videos. The thing to remember about marketing and communications is video pulls first, photos pull second. Unfortunately, text pulls third. So where you can use video or pictures is going to just take your conversation up to the next level. So I offer these as examples for you to go ahead and take a look at and see what else might work for you. Has anybody used any testimonial collection platforms or any testimonial creatives that they would like to share? All right, quiet group today. All right, so let's do a quick recap, and then I have some questions I want to ask you. So the quick recap is, number one, your chapter's strongest marketing asset is already there. It's your members. You don't need better copywriting, I believe. I believe you just need to have the member voices, because that's the real experiences. And I think marketing becomes easier and more authentic if you let them do the talking. Secondly, is the message is not whatever you're trying to sell them. The message is belonging. And if you promote less about what you're trying to sell them and more about what it feels like to be a part of that thing that you're selling, reverse trade show, a webinar series, a mentoring program, school outreach program, if you say what it feels to be part of that, your message is not only going to land better, but it's going to get a response. Third, relevance drives engagement, and the stories are what assures that you have that relevance. Testimonials suddenly bring the sense of the humanity, the familiarity, the sense of you get me, I get you kind of thing. Generic messaging happens when we describe services, and it is a symptom. It's not a failure, but you have to get away from describing services and allow members to do it. And all of this, I think, if you get scared or nervous or you don't like marketing, don't even talk about marketing. What you really need is a story pipeline. And I'm hoping that by walking you through the process, allowing you to collect some testimonials here, you have that feeling of that pipeline. All right. I left a couple of minutes right at the end. I'll tell you why. Our next event, our next webinar on the 4th of June is all about how are you having the conversation to get people to run for your board? How are you preparing? How are you sharing the stories of volunteering in your group? We've heard from you all that that's an area of struggle. So, what I'd love to do is ask a couple of questions because if, with your help, Jennifer and I can put together a program next month that is going to really make a difference for you. So, let me start by asking you a simple question. How do you invite people to consider serving on the board? Do you do a broad email or announcements? Do you do personal outreach? Do you do a mix of broad outreach and personal acts? Do you mostly do current board members tapping people on shoulders? Or, and just in general, do you struggle? So is there a way that you have, just trying to get a sense here of what you all are already using, and if you're just simply struggling, then we're going to address that. But I want to get a sense of how people are inviting folks to consider your board service. So again, we just go broad email. No, we go all personal outreach. We do some kind of a hybrid thing. Some folks, it's completely a board responsibility. We know that. And others, we're just struggling. We're not really sure. So go ahead. We got about 60% of you in so far. What I'd love for you to do while you're waiting for us to collect the responses here, put in the chat if you've got a link or an example of how you do this. Maybe you've been very successful in getting some new folks on your board or committee chairs. Go ahead and throw that into chat for us. Okay. We've got any more folks want to come into this? We've got about 70% of you. Oh, here comes a couple more. It is a single answer, so that may be you have to sort of weigh to see which one is most apropos to you. Okay. So way ahead of the bunch is a mix of broad outreach and personal asks. Let me go ahead and I'm going to end the poll and I'm going to share the results. So there is some honesty from you guys. Thank you. A couple of you said we struggle, just plain out. We're not confident that what we've done necessarily is the right thing. So, but many of you use a broad outreach and personal asks. Okay. I'm going to ask now. I'd love to know a little bit more about when you conduct board elections. Is it a slate voted as a group? Is it individual nominees voted on separately? Is it a mix of slate and individual votes? Is it just basically a confirmation, or you're not sure, or it varies year to year? Okay, Gwen, thank you. You do a mix, but you are struggling to get board members. Okay, thank you for sharing that. Okay. All right, so most of you are definitely you're doing votes. There's not a confirmation process. So far, most of you are coming in as individual nominees voted on separately versus a slate. In a chat, just mention like how, what percentage of your members do you get on that vote? Are you getting a good percentage on those, or do you have to or is it a low election results? Okay. All right, I'm going to go ahead and share the results here. So you can just see how folks are sorting out here. There is a mix between individual nominees and a slate. Low turnout. Okay, Jim. Thanks for answering. Appreciate it. Okay. Um, the last one I want to ask is we're going to frame this, and this is, I know we just got just a few minutes here. We want to frame, we want to address the content that's most important to you. So, where would you like additional guidance? Would you want us to cover and focus on recruiting the right people, getting more candidates to raise their hand, running the election, onboarding and knowledge transfer, or sustaining volunteer engagement year round? And this is multiple, no, this is single choice also, sorry. I was going to say it was multiple choice, but we did want to know what your overarching thing was. So we sort of narrowed you. Yes, Annette, technically you can have all five. Um, we just decided that because we only get an hour, we should see if we could figure out what was the most popular. But and this helps us. Yes, we understand that all five are necessary. Although I can see that no one says running smooth elections is an issue or a problem, which is kind of fun. Okay.
Well, I actually think that's good because if they have, that means that they are not having election issues or problems. So that's a good thing for me.
So Jim, I love it. It amazes me in elections people log in to abstain. That is great. So they feel compelled to at least give you some feedback. Yes, Casey, I get that. And in a perfect world, your board members are not your committee chairs. Because the committee chairs would hopefully be a stepping stone to the board service for some people, and it's a great way for them to get involved in a deeper method. But being a board member and a committee chair is very difficult. So just members overall. Okay. All right. Well, I've
I
got
love Annette's
most of you.
comment.
Go ahead.
Peggy, I love Annette's last comment. If we get the right people, the rest improves naturally. And we've
Yes.
said that before.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. So, sustaining volunteer engagement and getting more candidates, and getting the onboarding and knowledge transfer, which is a part that we really did want to cover next month because part of I like to say that part of getting the right people is in this robust process of seeking people to run. You're telling them what the job is and you're already getting them ready to have that job. See, so Annette, I didn't see board protections as an option. I'm curious about that topic. Liability coverage for officers. Okay. Um,
And can I answer that, Annette? It's a
please.
great question. We're going to have a webinar later in the summer where we're talking about governance, running a nonprofit. What does that mean and look like? And we'll involve some of those type of topics. What it means to be incorporated. What is general liability if you get D&O insurance? Things like that that fall under what does it mean to be a leader of a nonprofit group.
Good. And you will be talking about D&O and general liability insurance. People know the difference.
Yep.
Okay, good. And you should definitely, I'm glad to see Annette's question because um, nobody should serve on a board that has fiduciary responsibilities if they don't have liability coverage. That's just that's not a cool thing. So, all right. Thank you so much for giving us that guidance. We have 10 seconds. Are there any questions about today's topic? Are there any questions about next week's topic? What can we do for you today before we say goodbye? All right. Excellent. Well, Whitney, thank you. You all get back to your jobs. And thank you. Thank you once again for being a volunteer for NIGP. We love to help you, and the way that we can help you best is when you tell us what you need. So, thank you for spending time with us today, and thank you for sharing your testimonials. Have a
Thanks,
great and
guys.
wonderful day. Oh, yeah.